Yo, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dee Guwap. Next up, we have Gen Z is entering their quarter life crisis, and it's getting weird by emergency. Let's waste no time and get into it.
I fear that for a lot of older Gen Z, our youth is fleeting. Hey guys, what's up? It's Emergency and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about something spooky. Something real spooky, actually. And that is the
VFX, yeah, it's crazy. That was a damn good effect.
Gen Z quarter life crisis epidemic that we are currently going through. That's right, you heard me correctly, a quarter.
This is crazy because that means that they're turning 25, but I'm 26. I turned 27 in a few months. Shit, I ain't no damn Gen Z, bro. Don't put me in that bitch. I'm a millennial. Boy, don't put me in that shit.
Life crisis, not a mid-life crisis. You may be asking yourself, Rumi, what is a quarter life crisis? Because that sounds like something you just made up on the spot. To that, I say, no. You're giving me a lot of credit here. But the quarter life crisis is like a real thing. And I fear that anyone over the age of 20 may either be going through it, have experienced it, or thankfully have gotten to the other side of the quarter life crisis. And I'm definitely deep in the loins of my quarter life crisis.
With that being said, bro, I'm in my shit too. I'm gonna get to it at the end.
And as most things are for Gen Z, it's getting very unserious. So in this video, we're me talking about the quarter life crisis, what it is, why it happens, and how we as Gen Z can get over it without becoming what we fear most. Outdated. Without us going out sad. But before we get into
Nah, I guess to these new people that going out sad is always like the worst feeling. But feeling outdated is the term to put for Gen Z.
that, hi, I'm Rumi, and you are watching Gen Z, a special little series on this channel where we talk about anything and everything to do with Gen Z, whether it be in pop culture, media, or just in day-to-day life. Consider subscribing. I post twice a week and multiple other times a week on my other social medias at Emergency on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, which you should go check out if you haven't already. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video because it helps out a ton. Also, if you want to go the extra mile and show support to the channel, you can click the join button either down here or down here to become a channel member today. Channel members get access to early videos and exclusive content.
Bro, this is gonna be small, but I respect what he did because when I'm recording shit, I have to point, always be like over here, right there. Like I do shit like that too.
Content. I have a show review up now for the show Everything Now that is exclusively for channel members, and they're getting another one later this week. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to support the channel even further, then consider doing that. But let's get into this video's topic. So the quarter life crisis. What is it? Well, let me tell you. The quarter life crisis, not to be confused with the mid-life crisis, which I feel like we're all kind of familiar with. If you're not, it's basically when older people, the middle-aged likely, go through like this emotional crisis, really trying to find themselves because they're like, oh my God, I'm like halfway through my life or whatever, and I just don't know what I'm doing with myself. So let me go out and buy this expensive car, change my whole life around, really try and wrap myself up in the glory days of it all, you know? I'm kind of making a joke of it right now, but the midlife crisis really do be hitting the middle age pretty hard because I fear when you hit your midlife,
Bro, that shit go hit me like a bag of bricks because I'm not really familiar with the quarter life crisis, but if it is what I think it is, bro, that shit hit me like a
crisis. You're at a point in your life where you're kind of too far gone to really change a lot of the fundamentals of yourself because you're middle-aged and you're kind of able to look back on your life with this hindsight of being like, oh wow, things could have been so different, but I can't really change those things now, so I'm gonna try and change what I can as drastically as I can, which is why you see like a bunch of 40-50-year-old men buying these expensive cars out of nowhere. And then for a lot of the girlies and gays, the reason why you see a lot of older men on these dating sites and on the street that try and hit on younger people. Yeah, girl, that's a midlife crisis. They're trying to get some fresh meat to feel young too. That midlife crisis, yeah, that's what they got going on over there, girl. That is not what I'm talking about when I'm referencing a quarter life crisis, which is mostly different, but some of the fundamentals are the same. Now I'm gonna be real liberal and dramatic with the age ranges that I'm including in the quarter life crisis, because I think that the quarter life crisis means different things to different people. I'm specifically talking about Gen Z going through the quarter life crisis, but this is 100% something that millennials have and are currently going through as well. And I think that the youngest millennial right now is around 26 or 27.
Yeah, yeah, I'm in there, baby. We in there, bro. I'm not gonna hold y'all, bro. My lips are chapped like a motherfucker, and I cannot find my damn chapstick, bro. Please don't roast me.
But for the sake of this video and for the sake of the quarter life crisis, I'm just going to be lumping in pretty much everyone in their 20s because I feel like we all go through similar experiences that make us really question what we're doing with our lives. But let's just say for anyone in their 20s, do you ever feel that you're wasting your youth, like wasting your 20s? Like feeling like you haven't accomplished enough, or kind of like stuck in life, or like just generally aren't where you thought that you would be at this point in life when you were like a kid or like a teenager? If you recently graduated from college or have been out of college for a minute, are you working on the dream job that you were aiming for your senior, junior year? And if you are, is it what you thought it would be? Are you happy? Girl, let me stop. These general fears, worries, discontentments, and just confusion are all part of the quarter life crisis. As one article puts it, the quarter life crisis is described as a crisis involving anxiety over the direction and quality of one's life, particularly someone in their 20s. Because in your 20s, you're kind of forced to be an adult for the first time in a lot of people's lives. It's a time of a lot of transition, having to take care of yourself.
No, I agree with that. I tell people this all the time. The adulting aspect is nothing that I've struggled with. Uh, People try to minimize this whenever they hate it, but I grew up taking care of my little cousins. Like, I had to cook for them, help them with their homework. I went and got them from school when things got dangerous outside. Um, like, I did a lot for them. So the adult aspect isn't the crazy thing to me. It's just not being where I thought I should be in terms of profession wise. And so it made me sad for a while. I'll talk about that more at the end.
Being post high school or post college, like this is where the training wheels really do come off. Like this is what SZA was singing about when she was singing about the 20 somethings. And the quarter life crisis seems to be a pretty big issue for a lot of Gen Z and millennials. Considering while I was doing research for this video, I found out that the quarter life crisis has its own section on TikTok. Like not just a searchable topic, like it has its own heading, girl. With over 12.3 million views, which is insane to me, and just shows we are all collectively going through it. So how does the quarter life crisis exactly differ from a midlife crisis? And why is Gen Z experiencing it in the first place? Well, similar to a midlife crisis, a quarter life crisis stems from you taking stock of your life, as well as the lives around you. But what's different is, for one, the age groups, but two, it's different from past generations, with the exception of millennials, because the 20-somethings nowadays are filled with a much different pressure and expectation than the 20-somethings did back during the age of like Gen X or boomers. And that's in large part due to just the American dream as a whole being dead, as well as the hypervisibility.
Being dead, bro. The American dream was never realistic. I'm just being for real with you.
Of other people's better or seemingly better Gen Zers. And I do think it's interesting to know because I feel like whenever I talk about things involving like the quality of life of Gen Z, I get a lot of comments under these videos from non-American Gen Zers, and a lot of them saying that they don't necessarily relate to a lot of the pressures because of cultural lifestyle differences. And to that, I want to ask you, if you are not American in your 20-somethings, have you gone through are you going through a quarter life crisis right now? And if so, what does that look like for you? Because I don't want to say that.
I don't know how much kickback I get, but I know I have a lot of people not in America to watch my videos. Do y'all go through quarter life? Like, I really want to know that. Is this just an American phenomenon?
This is an American only experience because I don't feel like it is. But I feel like being a young adult in America adds a different twist to the crisis of it all. So let me know down in the comments. And I feel like one of the main pressures of the quarter life crisis is this need to have your life together and to be incredibly successful, incredibly young. And I feel like this is a pressure that a lot of Gen Z experiences even as early as high school, and especially after college for those who go. Of feeling this need to know exactly how your life is going to go, or the stresses of not having that feeling or that knowledge of knowing where you want your life to go. But I feel like ultimately a lot of us just wanted to come into this era being able to make a certain amount of money, live a certain lifestyle, be in certain relationships, whether that be romantic or platonic, and to have a certain job with job security. And when your reality doesn't necessarily align with the reality of other people you're seeing in your life, in your immediate circles or online, you feel bad about that. Like you feel so bad about that. And it's kind of crazy to think about, like, why am I comparing myself to someone I don't even know and that doesn't know me? Like I can speak for me growing up, even as soon as like directly out of high school, I have always felt behind in life and always felt this need to be grinding or to have like some sort of side hustle or to be trying hard.
I don't chase after like people on social media. I've been blessed and fortunate to surround myself with people who succeed in life, and I go based off of them. Now, this is even like it still don't compare your situation to somebody else, but I'm also a realist. I know that you're gonna have to grind your way up somewhere, unless you're lucky, unless you do some fluky shit. But I've spent so much of my time grinding away at a job that I hated that now I need to grind at a job that I like. But it's just like if I could have done the job that I liked sooner, do you know how far I would be now?
On social media to get my life how I wanted it. And that's why I don't necessarily understand why older generations say that Gen Z is like lazy. I'd go as far to say that we're a very hardworking generation, if not one of the more hardworking generations. Like, of course, that work looks different than it did, say, like 50 years ago. Like, we're not, like, the majority of us aren't working blood, sweat, and tears in a machine factory during like the Industrial Revolution, but that doesn't mean that we aren't working hard. A lot of us work multiple jobs, have very long hours, have full-time jobs and a side hustle, and can't afford shit. Definitely not the kind of stuff that our parents and grandparents were able to afford at this age. Like, I just remember trying so hard in college to try and make my post-grad life as as possible. Like, I took so many internships during the school year, tried to apply to some of the most prestigious jobs that were paying the most. And even then, it still didn't feel like enough. Because then, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be really real with y'all. We're gonna have conversations that I feel like other people are afraid to admit and to have. And when I say this, I don't mean this in a malicious way at all, or in a judgmental way at all. I'm just being honest, and I know deep down you think about it like this as well. But I feel like oftentimes when it comes to applying yourself and working super hard, whatever that means in your own way, because working hard means different things to different people. But then you hop on social media and see people your age or younger living these lives that are so great, so fruitful, and so luxurious. For what seems, and heavy on the word seems, because we'll get into that later, to be so much easier and so much less work, it kind of makes you think, like, why am I working so hard? Like, why am I trying so hard?
Don't ever think like some people do get by without working hard, but don't ever think nobody works hard, bro. That's a detriment. And that's how envy and beef get started. Even at their job place, people feel nobody does anything at work. Nigga, if they weren't doing nothing, they would be cut. Like, we all work differently, like you said. So don't ever think nobody works hard.
This one thing when I can try and do what these other people are doing for what seems to be less work and to get so much more money. And let's clock that, because a lot of people are afraid to say that they compare. A lot of people are afraid to say that they're jealous, because a lot of discourse online and the way that most people clap back at each other whenever they fall out for things are being like, oh, you're just jealous of me. But jealousy is a normal human emotion to have, and comparison is a very human thing to do. Like, evolutionarily, comparison is something that's hardwired for us to do, to compare and choose the optimal life situation, to one, survive, and two, to thrive. But I will say with that, while these are normal and natural emotions and feelings, the expression and how you act on these emotions and feelings to yourself and to other people are the difference from what makes you a weird bitch and someone that wants to just generally better themselves. Because I feel like you can be jealous of someone's situation, and instead of moving weird, trying to fuck someone over, be snaky, or just have malintent, just take that emotion and turn it into self-drive to better yourself. Like, this is a whole tangent. Like, I feel like we've stigmatized and put a lot of shame on the emotion of jealousy. But all this is to say that there is so much merit to wanting all these things in life. Being money, lifestyle, relationships, jobs, because that has historically been what's been advertised for people our age group, and currently is being advertised for our age group via the American dream or whatever, but currently is being advertised as the lifestyle through certain extents on social media. Like, let's talk about money and jobs. I feel like Gen Z entered the workforce at such an interesting time, because for a lot of us, myself included, a lot of our first big kid jobs, for those of us that went to college, came about during and after the pandemic. Like, speaking personally, outside of stuff I did for high school, I've had 2 professional jobs post-grad, and I've never had to do an interview in person. And I've never had to go into an office either. Like, just don't know what.
The interview in person saved me. I've been to a couple. I graduated before the pandemic shit, and so bro, I got told no a lot of times. A lot of times. My professors told me that I was going to be, and I'm not going to hold y'all, bro. I knew I was swamped because my professors are white, and it's not like, I'm not saying that they had it easy or whatever, but they said they got told no less than 200 times. Bro, what my black ass gonna be told, bro? Like, fuck.
That's like, and that's because due to the pandemic, work shifted a bunch. And I just don't know if this is my side of the professional sector, but work-life balance and the general state of just like having a job and getting a job, like from 2020 to like the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, peak! I feel like it was a lot easier to get a job because a lot more people were hiring post-grad and they're willing to pay and they were treating people very nicely. And again, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure if this is how it was across the board. My 2 jobs out of post-grad were in tech. And if you were on social media during those eras, you'd know about the tech boom that was happening during that era. But nowadays, the job market for anyone that's post-grad, anyone that doesn't have like 5-6 years of experience already, as a early 20-something, good luck. Honestly, good luck fighting.
It was just, to me, it was just from, with my experience, the reason I wasn't getting jobs is because I was competing with people in their 30s, with 12 years of experience while I'm 21. And the jobs would tell me, yeah, we're looking at three candidates, you're one of the 3. Then when I figure out who I'm competing, like who I lost to, shit, I ain't never really have no real chance against that motherfucker now, did I?
A job. This is in a year and a half is because good luck finding a job. And job security is super low for us as well. Like I've known so many young people that have lost their jobs already 1-2 years into their career. Like I graduated from college in 2022. And the reason that I've worked at 2 different places in a year and a half is because I got laid off. So with the instability of work and especially decent paying work coming out of college and high school is just really wild because you think entering your 20s is when you'd start building that foundation, really starting your career, starting doing work that you hopefully would love or at very least would tolerate, but that's becoming even more and more of a rarity than it was before, which then you take into account this hustle culture that is very prevalent within Gen Z of turning all the hobbies you have into some form of monetization. And all this is done in order to keep ourselves afloat. And in the back of our minds, well, not even in the back of our minds, because it's very much in our face all the time. We face this pressure to just be successful super young because we see that all the time. We see young people on social media blowing up, being insanely successful super young, before the age of 25, living extravagant lives and having these flourishing careers, having all these accolades, which for someone who isn't in that position creates a lot of confusion, a lot of doubt, being like, why aren't I there yet? When it seems like so many people are. And that comparison causes a lot of stress or pressure to have our lives together really young, or else we feel like we're failing. Like there's this one Pink Panthers interview where she talks about this, and I feel like I relate so much to what she's saying, where even she talks about this pressure of like racing against time to be successful and to make this money and to live this lifestyle for her by the age of 19.
It's crazy. Where do you think that comes from? What do you think, being someone who's kind of felt that way at 19, coming through the other side of it and knowing you have space to continue to create and you have a lane and you are successful, what do you think was motivating that? Any idea?
I think there's a bunch of things, honestly, and actually it gets kind of deep at some point. I think there was part of me which was like, okay, I'm in my prime right now in every sense. My vocals will be the best they are because as you get older, like, I don't know how aging works, but I just assume that they will decrease in time and quality. I thought I'm young, like, I look probably the best I'm going to be able to look like now. Like, it's crazy. Like, this is really what I was thinking. I was like, I'm in the best shape I'll be. I'm in the best mindset. I have the most time. I don't have a family yet. I don't have a partner yet.
Yeah.
My parents are away in a different country right now, so they can't survey what I'm doing. Like, there was a bunch of things that made me think that, but also obviously the added pressure of seeing online media and seeing people starting things at 16 and
FOMO is real. It's a real psychological
FOMO.
thing.
Yeah, FOMO, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had fear of it. I literally had fear of it. I was like, oh my God, these young people doing all these parties and like having money and being able to buy cars. I was like, okay, I really need to figure this out.
And I feel like if Miss Pinky is feeling this way, girl, everybody must feel this way too. Like the pressure is just always on. But now let's talk about the relationship piece, because I feel like relationships are also a undercounted part for why a lot of us go through our quarter life crisis. Like, yes, jobs and money are important, but the people around us as well, or lack thereof, also really do impact our lives. Because I know for certain, back in elementary school, middle school, high school even, when we thought about our 20s, we thought, okay, first year out of college, maybe I'll be in a little relationship or whatever, and then like by 23, 24, I'll be engaged. Maybe by 25, I'll be married. Have kids by 27. Ooh, girl, how's that going for you? No, like, real, but life-wise, dude.
No, bro, that's crazy. The laugh on Sequy did that. No, straight nigga shit.
To the cards that we've been dealt, Gen Z, we're very career and life driven because we have to be, because, you know, got to be successful by 30. And in order to do that, being in a relationship might be a little distracting, might get in the way. But as a result, things get kind of lonely, because for these jobs, for these opportunities, for the lifestyle that we want to live, some of us choose to move to these bigger cities that are more rich in opportunity, or if you don't move, some of your closer friends that you grew up with do end up moving, so that sense of community is a little bit lower. So it's not hard to see how loneliness can also be a big issue for a lot of early 20-somethings, and for a lot of us it's the first time that we're actually alone with our thoughts, alone in general.
I don't know if you touch on this, but also we put too much stock into the romantic relationships. Um, I figured this out a while ago, and so I've been single for about 4 years now. Obviously, I've talked, had little relationships here and there, but like, uh, I don't have that feeling of loneliness for real, because I've created a community of friends. It's like when you have friends, bro, that fills the gap in your life. Like you don't just need to keep getting into toxic relationships back and forth. And that's why some people are sad. Like you you should never have to give up your friends for one person. That doesn't even make sense. Like, no matter if they the love of your life, they won't be there forever. Well, I guess that sounds so bad. But like y'all going to get sick of seeing each other. You're going to get sick of being the only person each other has. God forbid something happens. So, like, you need other people in your life. People are willing to throw away friendship for relationships and wonder why they're sad. I think friendships is more important if I'm being for real with you.
From the family, away from the friends. And that's spooky. According to a Forbes article, about 73% of Gen Z reports feeling alone sometimes or always. And that's a big portion of our generation that doesn't feel really connected. And community, friendships, and relationships are something that a lot of us want and are good for us, but it's generally hard out here. Because when it comes to those things like life comparison or like life jealousy that I was talking about earlier, having community and having people around you is such a grounding, it's such a healing experience, because if you have people around you have people you can be real with, and people around you to have an actual grasp of like what the actual real world is like. Like you're not living your life through this lens that you're seeing on social media. You get to actually see and interact with people that are in a similar situation to you, that are also seeing the stuff that's going around, but at least y'all can be real with each other, knowing that you're all going through similar things, and that's okay. Like I feel like that's some of the magic that happens in college, because of course some people have more advantages than others, but for the most part everyone's going through the same stuff. We're all living in walkable communities, going through the same classes, same curriculum, and are literally going through the system at a same or similar pace, because those 4 years are gonna be 4 years regardless. So having that community around you can be really helpful. And then finally, lifestyle. We talked about this in bits around this video, but in tandem with this need for success that I feel like a lot of us as Gen Z experience, there's also this need and drive for a luxury lifestyle that a lot of us are feeding after and want, because that's what's been presented to us as being my peak life, or like the life that we should be aiming for on social media. And when I say luxury, I don't necessarily mean the nicest of the nice stuff either, because I don't know if y'all have noticed, but even basic stuff, or stuff that used to be basic 5 years ago when we were teenagers, when we were kids, is now becoming luxury. So the luxury that we're asking for really ain't even that luxurious to begin with. It's just basic stuff that is now made luxurious. Like, ready? A house. Ooh, spooky. That is a $500,000 to $1 million investment. Even an apartment. Oh. God forbid an apartment that costs less than $1,500 a month in or by a city. Real spooky territory. Like I feel like even some of the things that used to be basic necessities are becoming luxury now. And with the internet doing what it does, influencers doing what we do, it makes sense why Gen Z feels this quarter life crisis, because there are these lifestyles that may be real or not that are romanticized and that everyone is feeding for, because again, we feel like we need to be successful young so that we can enjoy our lives now while we're young, and then also while we're older. This is kind of where I wanted to bring back what I was alluding to before when I was talking about romanticizing people's lives or minimizing people's work, or like the concept of working hard, because I feel like it's easy to discount or not really acknowledge that by and large, everybody is struggling. Everybody is going through something. Everybody
struggles. I think I've never, like, the stuff I give y'all is just off the top of my dome, mixed in with a little bit of facts that I read. But like, there's no evidence of, like, there's nothing written out there. I'm pretty certain 80% of the world is depressed, and that's just the truth. I, I know it in my heart. I think if you out of 10 people, 8 people are depressed.
Is working. And of course that may look different for different people, but you truly never know what's going on in people's lives. And social media has become such a highlight reel for people, where truly the only thing we do nowadays online, for the most part, is to share the wins, the positive things. And I'll say, even the apps and platforms that try and make it seem like I'm just going to be real, that try and make us just be real or be authentic or to share our full selves, at some point down the pipeline, all social media platforms become the same. Like every single one eventually becomes this performance. Like even be real, for a lot of people, shows like the highlights of your day. Whether that be like the most positive or the most negative, it's still like a highlight. But yeah, we're all going through things. And a lot of people's luxury lifestyles, a lot of people's larger than life lifestyles that are being presented on social media aren't necessarily everything that they are playing it up to be. Shocker, but some girlies are scammers. Some girlies are in credit debts over flexing a lifestyle. And no shade to that. Well, scamming, maybe, but everyone's trying to make ends meet, which really makes you think, like, who is all this really serving? Like, if we're all struggling, we're all trying to attain this lifestyle of being successful, super young, rich by 30. If everyone's trying to be the top influencer, the top celebrity, who's really winning? And this sort of transitions into the next and final part of this video of what do we do now? How do we solve? How do we get past the quarter life crisis? And to be honest, girl, I don't know. If I did know, I wouldn't be in it. Like, I'm still trying to figure that out. But you know who does know? Older millennials and Google. So we're gonna go to that. Okay, let's see here. According to choosingtherapy.com, let's figure out how we can fix our quarter life crisis, shall we? Number 1, identify your triggers. Number 2, find what makes you happy. Number 3, incorporate self-care.
These seem like bullshit, but this is the truth. My trigger was my job. I couldn't work out. The reason why I've gained so much weight is the pressure. Bro, I hated that job. Ooh, I hated that job. And I was there for years. I was there basically my whole adult life so far, from 17 to like whatever. And like the thing about my job is that like it's a branches of jobs. So like you can work here. Like basically I worked at the baseball park. I worked at the football stadium. I worked at the basketball arena. Worked everywhere and I hated that shit. Bro, I hated most of the people that work there. I hated everything. So much so that should have probably stick with me for the rest of my life, the hatred that I have. But I always knew that. But I couldn't find another job. Like, I was applying, but I just wasn't getting accepted. And so I've been with this job all of, like, my new job. I don't know, about 3-4 months now, since November. And so I love it. I talk more with my family. I talk more with my friends. I just love this shit. And I found what makes me happy, bro. I like making videos. And I love playing games and hanging out with friends. That shit means the world to me, bro. And I stamp that.
4, create a plan. 5, work a side hustle. Or ain't that part of the issue? Anyways, number 6, trust the discomfort. Number 7, don't panic. It might be a little too late for that one, choositherapy.com, I don't know. 8, speak with people who have been there before. 9, find support. And 10, seek professional help. Well, I won't say that was super duper helpful, but let's try number 8. Let's speak to people who have been there before. And by speak to people, I mean, let's reference some TikToks from millennials who have said that they've gotten over this. This one creator who speaks a lot about getting through the quarter life crisis mentioned doing a lot of introspection, learning, getting to know and love yourself, as well as picking up and delving into personal interests and hobbies, which I could see being helpful because I feel like once you establish your own lifestyle for yourself, your own form of happiness and things you like to do, like really delving into your hobbies as an adult, that can sort of help with some of the worry, angst, and anxiety of like not feeling like you're doing enough because you're doing things that you love. And I can also see the merit in like tailoring your life to doing things that you really do enjoy doing. And as you do them more, you're gonna be better at them and incorporate them in other forms of your life. So in theory, that would just be a net positive. But I feel like the craziest part of the quarter life crisis in general is that it really does omit or makes us forget that we have so much time in theory to get our lives together. Like that's the reason why it's a quarter life crisis and not a midlife crisis. Like the midlife crisis has more merit because you're halfway through your life, but the quarter life in our 20s, there's still so much reinvention that could happen, so much change that can occur, and we're not at a point of no return. Like we can change our lives around for the better or for the worse, but there's still so much time to get our lives to where we want them to be. And I feel like that's such an important piece for us to remember, is that we still have time to complete our goals, and that even though I'm speaking to both of us here because I'd be forgetting. Even though we may not be at a point where we envision we are going to be at this age, that doesn't mean that point won't ever occur. It just may mean that it's at a different point in our story. Like it's cheesy and everyone says it, but everyone's life is different. No one's life path is the same or has the same timeline. So just because life isn't where you thought it was going to be or where you initially prescribed it to be in your life doesn't mean that it's just not going to happen. It just means that maybe God, the universe, or yourself, or whatever you believe in, isn't ready for that at this moment and is in preparation for that moment to occur. Like, I don't know. Like, this is the most kumbaya we've gotten on this channel. I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna be okay. Gen Z will get past this quarter life crisis because we have an even bigger crisis to tackle later down in life. So let's enjoy our youth while we got it. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments, are you currently going through a quarter life crisis? Have you been through your quarter life crisis and got out? If so, what'd you do? If you're not currently in it yet, if you're still in middle school, high school, or college and have not yet gone through it, do you see these things coming for you in the future? I don't know. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, if you're new to the channel, then definitely subscribe, leave a like on this video, follow me on my socials at Emergency, and consider joining to become a channel member. But other than that, y'all, I have Emergency, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Go follow my boy. Couple points I want to hit on. Yes, bro, I'm finally coming out of my slump. Mine was all job-based. I have had everything else I wanted, but just waking up, looking in the mirror every day, and knowing that I had to go be friendly with people who I wouldn't breathe if they needed air around. Like I would hold my breath if they needed air and deal with them constantly. Just, truthfully, it was in a profession that I don't even respect. So I don't need to get into that, but that shit was draining mentally. Also, the older that I've gotten, um, the more that I feel like parents need to regulate what kids see on the internet because scammers and influencers are doing massive damage to the youth. Like, I'm talking like the same amount of damage as porn to a young kid's mind because they put into these kids' mind that it's easy. Like, oh, all you have to do is do this, boom, 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 and you'll be rich by 25. If you're seeing that at 9, that kind of makes you think it's the norm. Like they're building these unreal expectations that's going to disappoint a majority of people when they don't reach it. Um, and they're gonna think it's them because they seen that somebody reached it. Little do they know that they were flexing, they were flossing, bro. That's doing damage to kids because kids are impressionable. Um, I used to say fuck them kids. I still say fuck them kids, but like that's a serious issue. Uh, so yeah, so like the older that I've gotten, I just feel that you really need to regulate all your kids' time on the internet, mainly because of like the sexual content, graphic nature, but even just just the seeds being planted, because there's gonna be a whole generation of kids that's really gonna hit this midlife crisis, and it's gonna be hell for 'em. Excuse me. And the last point I want to make is don't ever be ashamed. I think the problem with people is that they really think they're the only ones going through something, but you're not. There's a whole generation of people, like you said. Your friends are going through it. Some of your family members went through it. Bro, it's not you. Don't ever be afraid to talk out. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Um, because we're all human. Most of us is human. Uh, just don't be afraid, bro. Dead ass. Uh, I always told people, if nobody else listens, you can always shoot a message my way. I will always be here. So if y'all ever feel like y'all want to talk, bro, hit me on my socials. This isn't me just plugging it. Just send your story and I'll talk, because I know what it felt like to be in a dark room and it seemed like it was only me and I was just hustling. I was just grinding. Um, Tell me down below, are y'all having a quarter life crisis? Did any of the things that I said help? Did you learn anything new in the video? Just let me know down below and let's have a discussion. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more content like this. And I'll catch you next time.